what I want, I don't want it. Do what I like, I don't like it. My life is a mess, screaming with boredom. I don't feel nothing when I'm buzzing. Someone adds some glamorous hurt. 'Cause when I sleep alone for insomnia, they say you have to be beaten up before you're tender enough. They say you have to bruise to feel. I chew, I don't taste it. Obsessing over dress when I split. Shoot me a blink, I'm dying from boredom. I even lie when I tell the truth. Honestly, what's the use? They say you have to be beaten up before you're tender enough. They say you have to bruise to feel.
Hey everyone, I hope that your day is off to a fabulous start so far, and I'm so excited in this video to finally be decorating a little bit for spring. I hope that all of y'all are excited too. I feel like after Christmas, my house, and maybe you feel the same way, just gets so bare once all the Christmas decorations are down, and I just cannot wait to put up some floral, put up some spring decor, and just get everything refreshed, feeling like a brand new space. But in my last two videos, I shared with you guys my exciting news that I am expecting, and also our gender reveal party, which we found out that we are having a baby boy. So after the gender reveal party is where I am cleaning up all of the mess from that party and then prepping for spring. So in today's video, I'm doing some major cleaning up after the party, which includes all of the dishes, all of the kitchen area, the floors, the living room, the areas that I'm going to be cleaning up in order to decorate for spring, such as the dining room. And we are also changing out our light fixtures in the living room and kind of making the space feel a little bit newer. But as you saw in the beginning of the clip, before we can get to the expected results, which is a nice, pretty, clean house with beautiful spring decor, we have to face reality, which is getting everything cleaned up and picking up all of the unexpected messes along the way. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle, and I'm a wife, and I have two toddler girls, and I am 16 weeks pregnant with baby number 3. My house is hardly ever in order, except for the few clips of the video that I can get right after it's clean before it starts becoming a mess again. Cleaning is also sometimes a struggle for me because it is not my favorite thing to do in the world. And I pretty much have a go with the flow personality where not everything has to be perfect and kept up with all of the time, but I also don't like it a complete disaster, even though sometimes that's unavoidable. One thing that's a little different about my channel is that I like to listen to some of your deepest concerns and struggles, whether you send them through me, through comments, or through direct messages. I like to give you some of that motivational boost in order to get you out of a struggle that you might be struggling with, or give you an idea of a different mindset topic. So my goal with my channel is to inspire you in all different types of ways, not just with cleaning motivation, but really changing your mindset so that you can overcome some of the obstacles that you've been struggling with and see it in a different perspective. I would also love for you to subscribe to my channel because more than anything, we have an amazing community here, and I would love for you to be a part of it. But let's get started. Let's finish cleaning up all of these dishes and get all of this work done and out of the way so that we can get to the fun stuff.
Warm hands, but there's something cold in the way you are. The things you said had me going good, but it left a scar. You invite me and then you turn me down. Get my hopes up and then you're gone. I fall for every word that you say to me. So hard, being drawn to you so easily. I am stuck in a loop of chemicals. What's the point of this? But I don't wanna be alone. I keep looking at my phone, but you never call.
I do want to take a quick minute and thank all of you guys for all of your sweet comments, messages, congratulations, excitement. A lot of you said you shed tears in my last video when you saw my reaction. I was completely shocked by the results. So I just appreciate each and every one of you, like from the bottom of my heart. For the last couple of months, I have been struggling so hard with energy. Like I have no energy to do anything. And that's just something that comes with being in your first trimester of pregnancy. But even now that I feel like I have more energy back, I'm no longer sick and I'm feeling good. I think that I can tackle all of these things, or all of the things that I used to, like in a single day. And then after a couple of hours, I am just so tired, and I'm like, why did I do that to myself? Because I can't do the things that I used to do. And I know it gets me down a little bit, because I plan to like get all of this stuff knocked out, and then when I come to the realization that I can't, I'm just like, man, I'm just so over this. But in this pregnancy, more so than my other two, I have been asking Chris, my husband, for so much more help. I've been asking the girls for help, and I have just been a lot more patient with like mess and clutter and things like that. Even though I have goals to get all of these projects out of the way, which I've been talking about for several videos, I know that I can accomplish them, and I know that I will. I just have to reset my expectations on how it's going to happen. But real quick, I'm cleaning out all of these shot glasses. Apparently, everyone took shots that day. Obviously, I couldn't, but I'm just laughing about it. But this got me thinking, one of the things that I had planned to do before the baby comes in August was completely declutter out our closet, declutter out our office area, which might become the baby's room, and then declutter out our laundry room and DIY our laundry room, which we have already completed it. It looks so good, and I can't wait to share that with you guys in next week's video, even though it was a pretty big project. But going back to like having lack of energy and all of these tasks that I wanted to accomplish, it got me thinking, because last night I was sitting on the couch and Sailor, who is my 4-year-old, like brought a bunch of books that she pulled out of my office area. And one of them was a book that I bought when I very first started YouTube. I was going to go on this whole organizing journey, organize all these spaces in my house and be just like the people on the home edit. Let me tell you right now, that did not happen. It is a very slow process, especially for me. So I pulled it back out, and it is the Beautifully Organized book by Nikki Boyd. And I started going through it again, because I'm like, I think I have a decluttering problem. Like, I don't like to let go of things, but I really need to get these spaces decluttered and organized and more functional. And as I was skimming through this book again last night, one thing that caught my attention, especially about the whole energy thing, like how am I going to have enough energy to get all of this stuff done, being pregnant, being super big, making sure it's all done. And she talks about a sparkle time. And this is quoted directly from her book. It says, "Your sparkle time is the time of the day that you have the most energy." She says, try and schedule your organizing times within this sparkle time, or I like to consider it your cleaning time as well, because this is the time you have the most energy. Now, for me, it's in the morning. Right when I wake up in the morning is when I have the most energy to accomplish a task. Even if it only lasts for like a couple hours, then that's where all of my most productive things are going to happen. Some people, it's nighttime. My husband can stay up till midnight doing all of these things, and I'm like, don't even talk to me if it's past 10. I am going to bed. So find your sparkle time, and if you're struggling with getting things cleaned up, or you want to declutter and clean, then try and focus with getting as much done as possible within that time frame.
Time away from you, I didn't think I'd make it without you by my side. Let me feel your love again, just the two of us, and we could stay up all night, kissing under streetlights, doing what we want to, doing what we need to do, staying up all night.
So as I was trying to get the kitchen picked up, the girls came and got me and said that our dog had threw up all by the back door. And if you haven't noticed, I have a sticker on my butt because the girls were playing around with stickers, and I guess they put them all over me and I didn't even notice until I was editing this video. So yes, picking up all of the dog's throw up plus having stickers all over me is definitely my reality. The cleaner that I'm using here is just the 7th generation granite cleaner. I also use the Jaws granite cleaner as well, which I really like, but I broke the handle on it, so I have to get a new squirt bottle for that. But if you have any other granite type cleaner recommendations that you really like, then leave me a comment below. So speaking of functional spaces, another thing that I was reviewing in Nikki Boyd's beautifully organized book is that you don't always have to use a space that it's designed for if it's not functional for what you intend to use it for. So the little table that I was cleaning earlier was actually the table that the girls eat at. We don't have a breakfast table area. We only have a dining room area, and currently in the dining room, you'll see that a little bit later on, is where I do most of my work. So I work from home, and then also where I do like my editing and things like that. So my office area is super cluttered, so I moved everything over to the dining room. And I enjoy working in the dining room, I think because it's like right by the front door. It's right by a beautiful window. It's like a big open space, and I can see when my Amazon packages come. So every time I think I want to clean out my office area to work in there, I'm like, I really like working in my dining room, and we don't eat in the dining room. So I'm kind of thinking that I kind of like keeping that space functional. So right here is where it leads into our kitchen from the dining room. And we had this barn door made, and actually a friend made it for us already, like as a chalkboard. So the girls will sometimes go on the chalkboard and color on here. So this is what I'm cleaning off. But I think the whole idea of it is to like write down groceries that you might need or anything like that, or things that you need to buy. But I don't use it a lot as a chalkboard, but the girls do enjoy it. But do any of you guys have a space where it's not designed for that purpose, but it's super functional for you? Let me know what that space is, what it was designed for, and what you're actually using it as, and if you love using it that way.
I'm just trying to keep it real. Let me love you on the inside. Love you on the inside. Tell me exactly what you mean. You mean everything to me. Let me love you on the inside. Love you on the inside.
So as I finish up cleaning in the living room, I'm going to vacuum up the floors and also pull out my Roborock wet vac and kind of clean up the wood floor area as well. I did want to take a minute to acknowledge, because I've been talking a lot about pregnancy and all of this is just coming out in the last couple weeks and in my last couple of videos. I did want to acknowledge those who have been trying or have not been successful or have to do an IVF route or also have experienced pregnancy loss. Now, I don't know everyone's exact situation and I can't really relate to everyone's exact situation, but I do want to just bring up that my very, very first pregnancy was a miscarriage. We didn't find out that we were miscarrying until our first doctor's appointment, right about 8.5 weeks is when we got in. We had told our entire family right around Thanksgiving time. Everyone was so excited. It was our first pregnancy. And when we went in to get the ultrasound, they said that the baby was not viable. So I ended up having to go in and miscarry that baby. And it was devastating. It wrecked me. It wrecked my excitement for all of my future pregnancies. This is why I wait so long to actually tell people that I am pregnant, because it is so nerve-wracking. So although it's not like a big struggle for us to get pregnant, luckily that just came easy for us. I do empathize with those who have struggled with infancy loss, and just know that I do think about you, and know that having been in that situation, that there's nothing that anyone or even I can say to make you feel better, but just know that, you know, sometimes things will happen, but behind that is a lot of blessings that also follow. Don't lose hope, and you're definitely not alone in whatever struggle that you're going through.
I'm somewhere in the middle, try to find myself again. But life is one big riddle of the future and what's been. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go. Look to the left, look to the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I am leaving all the bad stuff and trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I'm alone. I got it, I gotta go, 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 running to better times. Go, 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 from my emotions I'll go, 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 running to better times, to better times, to better times.
I know that I said a long time ago that I was going to get the O-Cedar Spin Mop, which is more of like a standard type mop, but I love these wet vacuums. Like, they're so easy. They vacuum and they mop the floor at the same time. I'm sure the old school way of mopping, or actually using like the O-Cedar mop, is probably gets it a lot cleaner, but for the amount of floors that I have downstairs, it's just so much easier to do it all in one, vacuum and mop it at the same time. It just seems so much quicker. So I have not yet gotten the O-Cedar Spin Mop because of that reason, because this just is so much easier to do. I got a question, do having your floors, using this type of mop, wet vacuum, ruin your floors with the water and stuff? And no, these are real hardwood floors, and the only problem I have with these floors is that they scratch easy. But as far as like having water issues or anything like that, I've never had water issues or anything. And, you know, I use this probably once to twice a week. So even before, we had a different type of shark mop, and I've even used like steam mops on wood floors. So been in this house almost 7 years and have not had issues with that. This is the self-clean mode. So you just click a button and it kind of empties everything into that dirty water canister. And then because it's a vacuum at the same time, you're going to get like stuff in there. Like for me, it's going to be dog hair because we have a dog that sheds. And then just other dirt and dust is going to collect into that. And then this is also the dirty water. So this is the Robo-Rock wet vacuum that I'm using here. Now that the downstairs area, the kitchen, the sink, the living room, the floors are all clean, then I can actually start doing some decorating. The first thing that I wanted to do was actually change out the lights above the island. So I just mentioned it that we've been in this house. July will be 7 years, and I pretty much haven't changed much, even like furniture wise, since we've been in this house. We have some friends that are moving, and that just kind of gets me encouraged to like change some things up. We don't intend to move for a couple more years. So the only thing I can think to do is like, let's just redo some things in this house to make it feel like a new space without actually having to move. So the first thing that I'm doing is going to actually change up the lights. So I'm going for a darker color. These pendant lights are from Ballard Designs. I got them when they were on sale and they just came in, and I'm a little bit nervous to switch them up because they are so dark and the ones that we have now are clear. But you know, when you start changing up things in the space, I feel like you almost have to change everything. Well, not everything, but things have to tie in together. So I started picking out new things to change up, like, you know, the horse picture on the side of our wall, some of those things, the light fixtures, maybe the media table. I think I might actually paint or do something fun with that. So, but the first thing I do is order these lights, and then I'm going to put them up and then see what feel I get from there before I start making any decisions on other types of furniture, because the last thing I want to do is start ordering all of this stuff and then put it together and then it clashes or doesn't feel right or go well, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say I have a typical style. I was talking to my sister about this and I was like, well, I want to modernize it, but I also like a vintage look, but I also like kind of an industrial look. So we decided that my style is eclectic. So it kind of a mix of everything. It's not just like all modern, or it's not just, and I just do want to point out right there, Chris should not be changing those lights with it on. We turned the lights off and everything. He didn't get hurt or anything, but make sure that you turn your breaker off before you switch these lights out. But as far as like style wise, the best thing I could do is kind of just start with one thing at a time. See how it looks up in the space and then kind of go from there. So next thing we might be changing out is the bar stools, and then kind of continue on from there. Is there anything in your house that you plan on switching up that has been there for several years? Let me know in the comments down below.
Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love you, let me love you. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love, let me love, let me love you. Let me love you. I'm going out with you tonight. Are you close to here?
So funny story about that balloon in the corner. I'm trying to tie down because it's in the view of the camera. I tie it down to the chair, and I didn't want the girls playing with it because our ceilings in the living room are, I think they're like 18 feet. So I was like, if that balloon gets somehow detached and goes up to our ceiling, it's going to be up there forever. So actually the next day I tried to untie it and it did exactly that. And I thought the girls were going to do it, but I ended up doing it. So right now the balloon is stuck all the way in our top of our 18-foot ceiling, just flying around, and who knows when it will finally deflate and come down.
To go on a fast, I think this night will last. So you are like me, wanna be free like a summer night. I'm feeling down, I don't know why. What an eye.
The clear pendant lights that we currently had in that space we're actually using in other areas of the house. So like we're putting one in the laundry room, maybe one in our closet, and one somewhere else. So I absolutely love the way that this turned out. It changes the look of the kitchen area, and I'm excited to get started decorating some other areas. I ordered these faux cherry blossom flowers from Amazon. I actually saw them on Leanne Benjamin's Instagram, I believe. She had a picture of her entryway and she had these cherry blossoms and they looked super, super pretty. As I was taking them out of the packaging, I noticed that some of the cherry blossoms were like shedding and falling off, but I really do like these. They were a little bit expensive in my opinion for them, but I love the way that they turned out. I do have cherry blossoms from last year, which I'll show you in a little bit, and those ones were from Target, but they're not as like flowy and as tall as these ones are. So when I mixed the two together, then it created like a really, really pretty floral display. But I will come back to that. I just wanted to show you real quick when I received them in and filmed it. So the next area that I'm going to be picking up is our dining room. So this is our dining room. We actually did the DIY wall, basically paneling it. It was not super expensive, and it totally changed up the look of the room. But this is the dining room and the area that I said that I currently work in, because I just like the open space, and our office area is way too cluttered to work in. So I'm going to be decorating this space by adding like my own DIY floral arrangement as like the centerpiece area, and then also adding some beautiful wreaths up top to where those like mirrored frames are, which I'll show you in a minute. But the first thing I need to do is actually get this whole area cleaned up.
Every time you come and name, what do I whipping me into madness. I try to lay low, but I can never stay away from you. What do I we can't stop it, so I keep on rolling in silence.
So here's the vase that I'm going to be using for the centerpiece. I got this vase at World Market last year, I believe, and I've moved it around to a couple different places in the house, and recently, like during Christmas time, I just had it away in storage until I knew I was going to bring it back out. Now everything that I put in this arrangement is from Hobby Lobby, I believe. So these stems, I go to Hobby Lobby when the floral is 15% off. Usually like every other week is where I've noticed the floral is 50% off. And I'm using these as the base. I kind of tilted them a little bit so that they were more of like horizontally, like kind of flow downward opposed to straight up and down. And that just kind of gives the base of the floral arrangement. I'm going to be adding like roses and fake peonies to this one. So the first thing I'm doing is I just had like a couple extra white rose stems, I think from another floral arrangement that I kind of put together. And then I'm going to be adding a couple of these small roses. I think that's just a random one that I got from Hobby Lobby. Now this is like a peony bunch that I got, and that's pretty much the last thing I'm adding to this arrangement. I just add it in the middle, and I think that it turns out looking really, really good. For just a few stems that I used, it makes a really big statement in this area.
From my window.
Next thing that I'm going to be adding are these spring floral wreaths that I got from HomeGoods. Now, I try not to buy so many wreaths. I feel like I have way too many wreaths, but for some reason I'm always drawn to like floral centerpieces or some type of wreath, regardless of what season it is. I also like to make my own wreaths whenever I have time. I'm not like the best at it, but I think I do a pretty good job whenever I do get the opportunity to make them. So my whole idea is to put these onto the mirrored frames. You'll see them in just a second, but I didn't know how to attach them on. So I bought these hooks that you can just attach on these little stickies. I don't know what this is called. This has a name. I just can't think of what it's called. Leave me a comment down below if you know what these things are called. But basically you just stick them onto the little hook, and then I stuck them on to that picture that I'm going to be attaching the hook to. So I kind of pop out all the flowers so that you can't see the hook hanging. I was worried that maybe it would detach and stick off some of the mirrored part, but it didn't do anything. It's perfectly safe to use on these.
We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon. Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Shut the lights, go infrared.
So just by adding a couple wreaths and a new centerpiece, I feel like it brightened up this room and just made it so much more fun, inviting, and spring. The next area that I'm going to be freshening up is, it's not exactly our entryway, but it's kind of the entry right in front of our kitchen. So I had put those two floral arrangements there on the side, but I'm actually going to be moving those and using these vases to add the cherry blossom stems that I was talking about earlier. So I pulled out my spring floral decor that I had last year. Honestly, I hadn't really decorated for spring ever before. Until I want to say like 2020, 2021 year is when I started staying home so much more, working from home, and I like decorating. So I kind of got the kick to start doing a lot more seasonal decorating. It also gives it a way to change up the feel of your house, even though you're in the same space. So the floral arrangement, the cherry blossoms that I got from Amazon are the ones you can see that kind of flow from side to side. And then the ones that stick more straight up are the ones I got from Target last year.
And I just want to tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating and you can't stop looking at
I'm going to add these cherry blossoms in this area for now, and then I'm probably going to come back to this space. One thing about decorating is about mixing and moving things around a lot until you get it just right. So the next area is just our coffee table. I'm keeping it super simple. That is from HomeGoods, and the reason why I keep it so simple is because I don't want the kids messing anything up, grabbing things, candles, things I used to have there before just don't work with toddlers. So just having like one little arrangement is kind of what I feel works best. Now these are super tall vases that I also got from HomeGoods last year. And then these stems, I don't know exactly what type of flowers they are. They are from Hobby Lobby. I started off with 3 in each vase, and then every time I went back, I bought one more to make it a lot fuller. So since this area is so big and tall, I wanted some tall vases to go with it on each side. What I had next to the fireplace before were these 3 tall candle holders and candles that I got from Amazon, and I decided to kind of move them over to this space to see what they look like and see if they go with the vibe over here. Now that thing is what I used to have on the coffee table, but I pulled out this little floral arrangement. So since most of this area is kind of black and white, I thought that pink floral piece kind of looked great in the center. Now, if you remember from way back before Christmas, I had this table here that kind of goes on the back of the couch. I had moved that into another area because whenever we bring our Christmas tree out, we have to move the couch way back. And I had never brought this back out from after Christmas. So it's been sitting in my cluttered office area for several months, accumulating dust and kind of being used as a storage area. And now I'm finally bringing it back out, and I'm going to add just a few little things of decor here in this space. Sometimes for decor ideas, I watch the Ken Woven channel, which they are professional interior designers. And one tip that I learned from them is that you're never really going to have it all right all together. You're always going to be constantly changing and moving and mixing and matching a space, even if it's all within the same decor. So I kind of take that into consideration, and I will kind of have it set up the way that I like it that day. And then later on, if I want to go back and change things in a specific space, then I can do that as well. But even if something doesn't look right away, don't spend too much time in one area. Just leave it for now, and then you can always come back to it the next day when you may have a fresh new idea. next area is our actual entryway table. We just DIY'd these accent walls, and I got this beautiful pot from Pottery Barn that I really thought would look nice there. These are all blue flowers that I got. I already had these actually. I used them for like red, white, and blue decor last year, so I just decided to put those there for now, and I thought that they turned out really nice. Over here in the kitchen, I just added a little floral design, and in a previous video, I also made this arrangement. Those leaves are from Hobby Lobby, and then the pot was from HomeGoods. For now, I finished up this main living room and entryway area. I love the way that the lights turned out. I love that it brings a lot more color into the space. One thing I also wanted to kind of change was the little flower sticks in that silver pot. So I decided to come into the bathroom and change that out a little bit. I had gotten advice from someone that said, if you have one space decorated or pretty looking, make it your guest bathroom, because that is one space that all of your guests will always be using. So I got these flowers from Hobby Lobby as well, and just by getting a couple of those and changing that area, I think I absolutely love them there. So the very last thing are these wreaths, these greenery wreaths that I forgot that I had. I bought them last year on Amazon, and I put one on each side, and sometimes I'll even add stick in little flowers to add color and change it up for the season. When I had these up for the fall time, I put in some fall leaf colors, so that way any type of greenery that you have, you can keep it and just change it up by adding little stick things or flowers in them. So now I'm just gonna do a little quick tour of all the spaces that I decorated for spring. I know I did a lot of talking and explaining, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of this community, and I hope you got a few ideas for your spring decorating.
Wanna be with you till we grow old. Just tell me you'll stay or take me away.